Norman's Pitfall. Norman Price was sitting by the bank of a little stream doing a spot of fishing.
God, this is brilliant. I got the best maggots in Pontypandy, and there's more in my maggot farm under Mum's bed.
Suddenly there was a loud meow just behind Norman. He looked round, and there was Rosa, the big ginger cat from Bella's cafe.
Hiya, Rosa. Come for a walk, have you?
Meow.
Not far away, over the wall in the next field, Bella was having a picnic with Sarah and James. She brought all sorts of things to eat.
See, I'm making the special Italian pizzas.
Great, Bella, said James. I love mini pizzas.
And I bring the picnic fish for Rosa.
Bella had brought a special plate for Rosa with a big fish on it. But while she looked round to see where Rosa had got to, Norman Price was casting his fishing line. It came flying over the wall and hooked the fish off the plate. Then, as Norman flicked his rod forward, the fish hit him on the back of the head.
Crumbs,
said Norman.
I get a bite already. There must be more where that came from.
Norman stood up and went to look over the wall. There was the picnic. It looked delicious.
What a spread,
thought Norman.
Ha! They didn't invite me on their picnic. Perhaps I'll do some chocolate creamy clay fishing next.
While Rosa watched, Norman cast his fishing line over the wall and hooked a chocolate eclair from one of the plates. The eclair came flying back through the air, but it hit a wasp's nest in a tree, and before Norman could take the eclair off the hook and eat it, he was surrounded by angry, buzzing wasps.
No, no,
shouted Norman.
Buzz off! Private party! Wasps not allowed!
Sarah heard the noise and looked up.
Look, it's Norman.
Bella looked up too.
Ah, he's the captain of the wasps. Drop the cake,
called James.
They don't want you, they want the cake. No, find us keepers,
shouted Norman, and he started running away across the field, holding the cake high in the air. The wasps followed.
Go away, stupid creatures. I'm not that interesting.
And as Bella and the children started to run across the field after him, Norman just disappeared from view.
Oh, where he gone?
I don't know.
Where are you, Norman? Norman! He's lost.
Meow.
What is it, Rosa? James and Sarah ran over to Rosa. She was standing by the edge of a deep, deep hole. Listen. He's down there. Bella, Norman's fallen down this hole.
Mamma mia! He's at the old coal mine under here.
I better phone the fire brigade, said James, and he ran off to find a telephone box.
Be as quick as you can,
shouted Sarah. Down at the bottom of the hole, Norman tried to stand up in the darkness of the old coal mine. He took a few steps. He didn't seem to have any broken bones, but the air was difficult to breathe, and it was very cold and frightening.
oh, crumbs,
he thought to himself.
I'll never see daylight again.
At the fire station, James' 999 call was just coming through. "Come on, men," said Station Officer Steele. "Boy down mine shaft near Pandy Lane Farm." In just a few seconds, Fireman Sam and Elvis were in the cab of Jupiter with the engine running. "All present and correct, sir," said Sam. "Right, let's go." Soon they were racing through the countryside with their blue lights flashing.
We're very near now, sir. Look, there's James.
They turned into the field where James was standing waiting for them. Then he took them across to the hole, and they quickly unloaded their special equipment while Bella and Sarah watched.
Fireman Sam, maybe it's too late,
whispered Bella anxiously. "Right, Fireman Sam," said Station Officer Steele. "Prepare gas detector." Fireman Sam took a long black pipe and lowered it deep into the hole. Then he pumped some air from the bottom of the hole up the pipe and into his special gas detector. A red light started to flash. "There's a high level of poisonous gas down there, sir," said Sam. "None too healthy?" "Right," said Station Officer Steele. "Mask up, men. Breathing apparatus. On the double." "Right away, sir." Sam and Elvis quickly put on their masks with oxygen tanks to help them breathe. Then they clipped on their radios and picked up their powerful torches. Sam tied the end of a long rope round his waist. "Is all your equipment ready, Fireman Sam?" "Yes, sir." "Good. I'll lower you now." Sam clambered down into the hole. Deeper and deeper he went, as Station Officer Steele let out the rope from the back of the fire engine. Everyone watched and waited. Then Sam's voice came through on the radio. "Fireman Sam to Station Officer Steele. I've reached the bottom. Stop lowering. I'm now tying off the guideline and standing clear." "Roger, Fireman Sam. Out. Now then, Fireman Criddington. You next." Down into the hole climbed Elvis with the rope tied round his middle. At the bottom, Sam helped him untie the rope, and then they switched on their torches and looked around. "Can't see him, sir. Moving on and into the tunnel. Over." "Proceed with caution. You have 20 minutes of oxygen left." Norman saw the light from the torches coming towards him. He was so weak, and the air was so bad now that he could hardly speak.
Help.
"Hang on, Norman. We're on our way."
Over here. Fireman Sam.
There he is. Sam and Elvis clambered over the rubble towards Norman. Sam took out his spare gas mask and oxygen cylinder. He held the mask over Norman's face while Elvis turned on the oxygen. "There, my lad, you breathe into that. You'll be fine in no time."
Don't worry, Norm. Everything's okay.
"We've located Norman, sir. He's safe and well. Making our way back. Over." Station Officer Steele was delighted. "Well done, Fireman Sam. You've still got 10 minutes oxygen supply left. Over and out."
Great, said Sarah.
"Terrific," said James.
"Isn't nothing like a happy ending?"
said Bella. Suddenly the radio started sending out strange noises.
"What's that?"
shouted James. "Fireman Sam calling Station Officer Steele. The tunnel roof's caving in. We're in grave trouble. Over." "Stay back, Norman boy." When the smoke and dust cleared, Sam could see that the way back to the hole was completely blocked.
We'll never get through that, will we?
"Fireman Sam to Station Officer Steele. Roof collapse hindering exit. Instructions, please. Over." "Calling Station Officer Steele. Come in, please. Over." No response. The radio's packed up. We're on our own now, with only 5 minutes of oxygen left.
Meow.
What was that?
Meow.
It's Rosa. And sure enough, there was Rosa, standing only a few feet away from them. "Now then, Rosa," said Elvis, bending down to stroke her. "How did you get in here?" "Not the same way as us, I'm sure," said Sam. "And that means there must be another way out. Come on, boys. Rosa can show us."
Meow.
In less than 5 minutes, Rosa had led Fireman Sam, Elvis, and Norman out of the old coal mine and back up the field to join the others. And later on, when Sam went round to the cafe for a celebration tea with Bella and the children, who should pop in but Norman Price and his mum. Norman was carrying a big dish with a cover on it.
"What was it you wanted to say, darling?"
said his mum, pushing him forward.
Thank you, James, for phoning. Thank you, Fireman Sam, for finding me. And most of all, thank you, Rosa, for showing me the way out."
And he lifted the lid off the big dish. There
underneath was the most beautiful fish tied up in a great big bow. Rosa was delighted.
Meow.
And so was everyone else.
I tell you what, Bella, said Sam. We could have Rosa as an auxiliary firefighter. What do you think?
When he used the fire bell chime, Fireman Sam is there on time. Someone might be in a jam, so hurry, hurry, Fireman Sam. Always on the scene, Fireman Sam, and his engine's bright and clean. Fireman Sam, you cannot ignore. Sam is the hero next door.
Each day at sunrise when the cock begins to crow, someone's already dressed and all ready to go. We should know who he is, 'cause he knows us. It's Trevor Evans, man. He drives the bus. After his breakfast and his 20 touch my toes, he gives his vehicle a polish till it goes. He checks his mirror and with no more fuss, turns the ignition on and starts the bus. He whistles as he goes past houses all in rows and sleepy bungalows. The man who drives the Pontypandy bus looks down the high street past the old memorial hall. There's Mr. Evans and he waves to one and all. Stops for his cup of tea at 10:30. Goodbye, my lovely. He's off again. He whistles as he drives. He's part of people's lives, like plates and forks and knives. The man who drives the Pontypandy bus. Trevor knows the highways, driving up and down, valleys, hills and byways, countryside and town. What's your favorite transport? It's so obvious. Take the Pontypandy bus. Into his day he fits as much as he can cram, and so he does his bit to help out Fireman Sam. And if he sometimes sticks inside the drain, someone is bound to pull him out again. He whistles as he goes, moustache beneath his nose, a gem from head to toes. The man who drives the Pontypandy bus.
When he hears the fire bell chime, Fireman Sam is there on time. Putting on his coat and hat in less than 7 seconds flat. He's always on the scene, Fireman Sam, and his engine's bright and clean. Fireman Sam, you cannot ignore. Sam is the hero next door.
Lost Cat. Trevor Evans, the bus driver, pulled up at Mrs. Price's grocer's shop. As he climbed down from the cab, he remarked, "Ah, what a lovely peaceful day." Just as he said it, a loud crash came from inside the shop, followed by Dilys Price's screeching voice. "You wait till I catch you, Norman Price." With that, Norman dashed out of the shop, bumping into Trevor as he sped past. "Hey, my mind, how you go, lad?" scolded Trevor. Dilys appeared in the doorway and shouted after Norman, "Come back here and clean up this mess. There's sherbet everywhere." "Morning, Dilys," said Trevor.
Morning, Trevor. How are you, my lovely? Replied Dilys as she patted her curlers.
More to the point, how are you? Asked Trevor. Having a spot of trouble?
No, replied Dilys. Well, trying to help me, was he? Putting the sherbet lemons on the top shelf. Oh, good boy he is, my Norman.
Yes, I suppose, said Trevor, rather doubtfully. Any deliveries this morning, my darling?
Only these tins,
replied Dilys as she went back into the shop.
They're for Pontypandy fire station.
Trevor picked them up and said, Red paint? I know what these will be for.
Careful not to watch your back now,
said Dilys cautiously. Just as Trevor was leaving the shop, struggling with the paint pots, Fireman Sam appeared from around the corner. Morning, Trevor, called Sam. Need a hand? Well, puffed Trevor. If you can just open the back doors of the bus. Dilys, who found Trevor rather attractive, cooed,
Oh, Trevor, you're so strong.
Sam's eyes rolled to the heavens as he opened the back doors of the bus. Thanks, Sam, said Trevor as he loaded the tins onto the bus. They're for you anyway. For me? Asked Sam. Well, for this fire station, replied Trevor. They're tins of red paint. Oh, glad I'm not on duty today. Trevor was an auxiliary fireman, as well as being Pontypandy's bus driver. Aren't you lucky? Said Sam woefully. Sam hated painting too. Across the road in Bella Lasagna's cafe, Bella was busy preparing for her Saturday lunchtime trade. As she peeled the potatoes, Bella talked to her cat, Rosa.
Every day I peel the potatoes, I make the chips. These people in Wales, they eat only the chips. I know, eh? What do you think, Rosa?
Bella looked around for her cat.
Rosa, where you get to now, puss?
Bella was looking under the table for Rosa when the doorbell rang. Sam walked into the cafe to see Bella's rear sticking out from under the table. What are you doing, Bella? Chuckled Sam. Playing hide and seek?
Morning, Sam,
said Bella as she got to her feet.
I've lost Rosa again.
Oh, she'll turn up, said Sam. You haven't lost my sandwiches, I hope?
They're ready for you,
replied Bella as she handed them over the counter. Thanks, Bella, said Sam over his shoulder as he made for the door.
Oh, Sam,
called Bella.
If you see Rosa, you send her home for dinner, please.
Will do, replied Sam as he left the cafe. Meanwhile, outside Pontypandy fire station, Station Officer Steele was pacing up and down impatiently. Delivery's late, complained Steele as he looked at his watch. Because it's the weekend, I suppose. Now, where's Cridlington? Elvis Cridlington, the junior fireman, was just inside the station garage surrounded by pots and brushes. He was stirring a large pot of red paint when Station Officer Steele poked his head around the doorway and barked, Fireman Cridlington!
Yes, sir,
said Cridlington, and jumped to attention. As he did so, he dropped the paint can, spilling the paint all over his boots. Seems we put our foot in it again, eh, Cridlington? Said Steele angrily.
Yeah, foot in it. Oh, yeah, very good, sir,
replied an embarrassed Cridlington. Well, take your feet out of the paint and put your brush in and get painting the engine house doors, barked Steele.
Yes, sir,
said Cridlington as he began to clear up the mess. Over at Pontypandy Square, meanwhile, Trevor Evans was driving along when he saw Fireman Sam's nephew and niece, James and Sarah, looking worriedly up at a tree. He popped his horn. The children waved him over. What's up, kids? Asked Trevor through the window as he pulled in alongside Sarah and James.
Oh, well, we're glad you came, said Sarah anxiously. Bella's cat Rosa is stuck up the tree.
James pointed halfway up the tree to where Rosa's head was just visible through the leaves.
Meow,
cried Rosa. Have you got a ladder? Asked James. No, I haven't, replied Trevor. Now, let me see. Trevor stroked his chin thoughtfully. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll climb up, my sugar lumps.
It's a long way up,
said Sarah. Leave it to me, replied Trevor confidently, as he climbed onto the roof of the bus. Mustn't be too long, though. There's a match on today. I don't want to be late for the kick-off. Meanwhile, at the fire station, Elvis Cridlington was painting away merrily. He was listening to his Walkman and singing along as he painted.
Paint the door red, that's what he said. Rather do something groovy instead. Do that.
Cridlington! Elvis stopped in his tracks at the sound of Station Officer Steele's voice.
Yes, sir,
stuttered Cridlington. You're supposed to be painting the doors, not the whole station, snapped Steele.
Elvis looked around to see that he'd splashed paint on the walls, the floor, and even the windows of the station. I must have got carried away, sir, spluttered Elvis. You will get carried away if you don't clean up all this mess, replied Steele sternly. Just then, Fireman Sam arrived. Great fires of London, he chuckled. Looks like an explosion at a ketchup factory. Morning, Sam, said Steele. You're just in time to help Cridlington with the painting. No, not much paint left, sir, said Elvis. Oh, that's a shame, said Sam, not too convincingly. Plenty more on the way, Cridlington, said Steele. Won't be long. I'm afraid Station Officer Steele is right, muttered Sam behind his hand to Elvis. Oh, no, groaned Elvis. Back at Pontypandy Square, Trevor was on the roof of the bus, trying to grab a branch. You can do it, Mr. Evans, called Sarah. Oh, goodness me, said Trevor nervous as he got a toehold onto the tree. Try that branch, it looks stronger, called James. Then he whispered to Sarah, I hope it holds his weight. Well, I don't know, said Trevor, who was getting less confident by the minute. He strained as he tried to lift himself further up the tree. Meow, wailed Rosa, as Trevor inched his way nearer her. Then she suddenly leapt even further up the tree. Oh, drat the cat, moaned Trevor. He looked down at the children. They seemed a long way away. Oh, dear. Oh, it's a long way down. I don't like heights. I feel a bit dizzy like. Oh, the branch creaked and then cracked. Oh, gulped Trevor. Down below, Sarah and James were getting a little nervous. Oh, perhaps we'd better phone Uncle Sam, said Sarah. You're right, replied James. They dashed to a nearby telephone box. Station Officer Steele was filing away some papers in his office when the telex machine began chattering. Now who needs the fire station? wondered Steele as he tore the message from the machine. Steele read the message, then made for the engine house. There's a fire at Bella's Cafe! On the double, men! Fireman Sam and Cridlington leapt into action. Sam climbed behind the wheel of Jupiter the fire engine, while Elvis manned the doors. All present and correct, sir, said Sam, as Steele and Elvis climbed onto the engine. Let's go, replied Steele. Sam started the engine and switched on the siren. Jupiter roared out of the station, its lights flashing as it sped towards Pontypandy. Dilys Price, nosy as ever, couldn't contain her curiosity as she heard the sirens coming towards the shop. Well, I never, she clucked. I wonder what's on fire. The engine pulled up outside Bella's Cafe. Sam and the crew got out and opened the shutters, then began setting up their equipment. Come on, then! Jump to it! Commanded Station Officer Steele as they uncoiled hoses and removed extinguishers from the engine. Inside Bella's, the chip pan was aflame on the stove, and Bella was waving her arms around in panic. Mamma mia! What can I do? Just then, Sam burst in, followed by Elvis carrying the hose. Not to worry, Bella, said Sam as he made for the sink. We'll soon have this under control. Sam grabbed a cloth and rinsed it under the tap. This is just what I need, a damp cloth. Sam quickly made for the chip pan and expertly placed the damp cloth over the flames. The flames went out with a hiss. Fire out, said Sam. Oh, Sam, bravissimo, my hero, cried Bella excitedly. No problem, Bella, said Sam, blushing slightly. All in a day's work. Good work, Fireman Sam, said Steele. Now, go on, let's get the equipment reloaded. Bella saw them to the door. Feeling better now, Bella? asked Sam. Just then, Dilys Price arrived on the scene. Don't worry, a good cup of tea what she needs, said Dilys knowingly. Then she muttered to Sam under her breath. These Italians, so dramatic they are, she should stick to cooking spaghetti. Safer. Just then, the fire engine's radiophone crackled into life. Elvis dashed to the cab and picked up the handset. Wilco, Jupiter 999, over. Elvis listened to the message and replied, Roger, over and out. Station Officer Steele approached the cab. What's up, Cridlington? he asked. Your message just come through, sir, replied Elvis. The cat answering to the name of Rosa and a man called Trevor up tree in Pontypandy Square. Dilys interrupted. Oh, my darling Trevor, followed by Bella, who put her hands to her face and said, Oh, mamma mia, my Rosa. At Pontypandy Square, Trevor was even more stuck than ever. As he hung precariously from a branch, he cried, Somebody do something! I can't go up or down. Rosa was even higher up the tree than before. "Don't worry, Mr. Evans," called Sarah. "Uncle Sam's on his way," shouted James. Just then they heard Jupiter roaring through Pontypandy. It pulled up behind Trevor's bus, and the crew piled out. "Right, men, get to work," barked Steele. "Let's get these ladders into place." "Better move to one side, kids," said Sam to Sarah and James. Fireman Sam helped Elvis place the ladder against the tree. "All right, Trevor. We'll soon get you down," called Steele. Just then, the branch that Trevor was standing on cracked. Oh, the sooner the better," cried Trevor as he flailed about in panic. "Put your foot on the ladder," called Sam. Trevor nervously stretched a foot out and then pulled away. Oh, no, I just can't do it," he shouted. "Oh, come on," shouted Steele. You'll miss the match," shouted Elvis. Oh, that's all right," replied Trevor. "Oh, can't have that, can we?" He made a leap for the ladder, missed his footing, and slid all the way down. "Oh!" wailed Trevor as he whizzed down until, he landed with a bump on his backside. "Look out!" called Sam, but he was too late. Steele looked down sternly at Trevor, who was shaken but unhurt. In fact, he looked a comical sight with his hat over his eyes and his legs in the air. "Would have expected better from an auxiliary fireman, Evans, eh?" said Steele. "Oh, yes, sir," replied Trevor forlornly. Sarah and James held their hands over their mouths to hide their smiles. "No harm done," said Sam. "Now, how about Rosa?" Sam peered up at the branches of the tree, but there was no sign of Rosa. "Oh, that cat," muttered Sam under his breath as he searched around the trees and bushes for her. "Oh, well," said Trevor as he patted his clothes back into place. "I'm off to the match. Hey, kids, would you like to come?" "Oh, can we? Oh, great," replied Sarah. "Brill," said James. "Yeah, we should just about make it," said Trevor, looking at his watch. Steele said, "Right, men, make up!" Elvis and Sam began replacing the ladders as Trevor and the children jumped into the bus. "Rosa must have got down by herself after all that trouble," said Sam. Just then, Trevor revved the bus and accelerated forward. The back door swung open and the box of tins fell out. "Watch out, Trevor!" called Sam. Too late. The pots of red paint burst open as they hit the ground, spilling paint all over the road. Inside the bus, Sarah cried, "Oh, the back doors are open, Mr. Evans!" "Oh, Lord!" exclaimed Trevor as he braked sharply and got out of the bus. "Oh, that's torn it," he muttered as he saw the bright red paint all over the road. Sam whispered to Elvis, "Ah, well, no painting today, eh, Elvis?" "Yeah," exclaimed Elvis happily. I mean, no." Elvis shuffled his feet nervously as Steele glared at him. "How's this paint off the road?" barked Steele. "I always wanted to paint the town red," chuckled Sam, but Station Officer Steele wasn't amused. Meanwhile, inside Bella's cafe, Dillis and Bella were having a cup of tea. "Oh, I hope my Rosa is safe," said Bella. "And my Trevor," sniffed Dillis. Just then, Jupiter pulled up outside the cafe. "Oh, there's the salmon now," said Bella. Dillis and Bella both scuttled to the door of the cafe. "Oh, thank goodness you're back," said Bella anxiously. "Where's my Rosa?" "I'm afraid we lost her, Bella," replied Sam. "You'll not bring her home?" wailed Bella. "Come on, no, said Steele. "I'm sure she'll turn up sooner or later." "Oh, Mamma Mia," cried Bella. "Oh, she could be a miles away." Just then, they all heard
A meow.
Everybody looked up to the top of the fire engine, where Rosa's face peered over the edge of the ladders. "Great fires of London!" exclaimed Sam. "She must have jumped onto Jupiter from the tree and hitched a lift home." At that moment, Rosa leapt down into Bella's arms. "Oh, bellissima!" sighed Bella as Rosa purred loudly. "Crisis over, men," said Steele. "Let's get back to the station." "Oh, let's hope she doesn't go wandering again," said Sam. Just then, he looked up at Jupiter's bell. "That gives me an idea," he muttered as he climbed aboard. Later that day, Sam returned to Bella's cafe. "Afternoon, Sam," said Bella. "I got a present for you, Bella," said Sam, and he produced a little bell from his pocket. "What is this for, Sam?" asked Bella. "You can put it on Rosa's collar, then you know where she is all the time." "Oh, fantastico," laughed Bella. "And you deserve a slice of my best cream cake." Yum yum, chuckled Sam.
There's someone for the fire brigade. Now who can it be at 2:45? Everybody is on parade. No fear of delay, we're all on our way. Station Officer Steele gathers his men and calls their names. Fireman Sam at the wheel, when Jupiter goes to fight the flames. Steele gives his commands. Roll at the hose as far as it goes. With that, we're in his capable hands. If Jupiter's here, there's nothing to fear. Station Officer Steele gathers his men and calls their names. Fireman Sam at the wheel, when Jupiter goes to fight the flames. Officer Steele is in control, clicking his heels, calling the roll. Everyone knows he likes to feel the person in charge is Officer Steele. It takes a particular type of brain to know when to lead and when to concede. I sometimes allow the men to explain what they would suggest if I think it best. Station Officer Steele gathers his men and calls their names. Fireman Sam at the wheel, when Jupiter goes to fight the flames. Officer Steele is in control, clicking his heels, calling the roll. Everyone knows he likes to feel the person in charge is Officer Steele.
Birthday surprise. It was Station Officer Steele's birthday, but Fireman Sam and firefighter Elvis Cridlington were pretending that they had forgotten.
I hope he doesn't know about the surprise party,
Elvis whispered to Sam. Shh, warned Sam as Station Officer Steele came into the mess hall.
Any mail for me? He asked. Cards or parcels or anything?
No, sir,
Sam replied, hiding a smile. Sarah and James had taken the bus to Newtown to collect Station Officer Steele's birthday cake from the bakery. They were on their way to the bus stop when it began to rain.
"The cake mustn't get wet," said James.
I've got an idea. Let's visit Penny at Newtown Fire Station while we wait for the bus to Pontypandy, said Sarah. That way we'll stay dry, and so will the cake. At Newtown Fire Station, firefighter Penny Morris made tea for the twins. Look at the cake we've got for Station Officer Steele's birthday, said Sarah. Inside the box was a large cake in the shape of Jupiter, the fire engine. Station Officer Steele was certainly like that, Penny laughed. She pointed to a similar box on the table. I've got a present for him too, but it's a surprise. As soon as the rain had stopped, the twins went out to catch the bus to Pontypandy. Hurry, James, said Sarah. She held the box in front of her as she ran towards the bus stop. We don't want to miss it. But Sarah was running so fast, she slipped on the pavement, and the box went flying. James dived forward and caught the box just as it was about to land in a puddle. Oh, dear, I'm soaked, groaned James. At least the cake is still dry, said Sarah. Just then Trevor's bus appeared.
Jump aboard, you two, he called. The Pontypandy Express is at your service.
When Fireman Sam finished his shift at the fire station, he decided to go fishing.
The rain should bring the fish to the surface, said Sam to himself. I'd like to catch a nice big trout for Station Officer Steele's birthday dinner.
He waved as he noticed Trevor's bus pass him on the road alongside Pandy River. Further down, the rain had made the road slippery.
Watch out!
Cried Trevor to the twins. He tried to stop the bus, but it slid out of control and plunged into the river. Water poured into the bus.
Onto the roof, you two, Trevor told the twins. The water won't reach up there.
He helped them to clamber out of the bus and onto the roof.
I'll wade through the river and phone for help, he said.
Sarah and James sat on the roof of the bus and waited. Then Sarah spotted a box floating downstream away from the bus. Look, James, she cried. The cake will be ruined. Downriver, Fireman Sam was not having much luck fishing. Suddenly he noticed a large box floating towards him. Strange, he thought. I wonder where that came from. He pulled the box into the boat. Curious, he began rowing upriver.
Great fires of London,
he exclaimed as he spotted Trevor's bus in the river.
That's a funny place to park a bus,
said Sam as he helped the twins into the boat.
Are you two all right?
Yes, Uncle Sam, we're fine, said Sarah. James noticed the box in Sam's boat. You found Station Officer Steele's birthday cake, he exclaimed.
It might be a bit soggy, said Sam.
Just then, Trevor returned.
Penny's on her way from Newtown Station, he called. I'll stay here and help her tow the bus out of the river. Right-o, Trevor, replied Sam. I'll take these two back to Pontypandy.
Penny arrived minutes later in Venus, the rescue tender. We'll soon have your bus on dry land, she said, and she quickly attached a tow rope from Venus to the back of the bus. Slowly she towed the bus onto the road. Trevor climbed into the driver's seat and turned the key. Nothing happened.
The engine is damp, he said glumly.
Don't worry, said Penny. I'll tow you to Pontypandy. We'll be just in time for Station Officer Steele's birthday party. I've already stored his present in Venus. That afternoon, Sam and the twins were helping Elvis to get ready for the party.
First class, Elvis,
said Sam, admiring the food that Elvis had prepared.
It's a good job. There's no need for the fish.
It's a pity the cake is ruined, though, groaned James, looking at the soggy box. We haven't missed the surprise, have we? Asked Penny as she and Trevor arrived with their presents.
Not at all,
Sam replied. Good, said Penny. She held up her box. It was wrapped up with a big bow. I hope Station Officer Steele likes my present. Shh, he's coming, whispered James. Immediately, everyone was quiet.
Everyone's forgotten my birthday,
they heard Station Officer Steele mutter as he opened the door to the mess hall. Surprise! They shouted. Happy birthday, Station Officer Steele! He beamed.
So, you haven't forgotten after all, he said happily.
Penny gave Station Officer Steele her box. These are for gardening, she told him. Station Officer Steele opened the box, then gave Penny a puzzled look. How do I use a cake in my garden? That's our cake, exclaimed Sarah. Station Officer Steele opened the other box to reveal a pair of green wellies. We must have swapped boxes, laughed Penny to the twins. Fireman Sam chuckled. This party has been a surprise in more ways than one.
When he hears the fire bell chime, Fireman Sam is there on time. Putting on his coat and hat in less than 7 seconds flat. He's always on the scene, Fireman Sam, and his engine's bright and clean. Fireman Sam, you cannot ignore. Sam is the hero next door.
Sam's Rabbit Rescue. Fireman Sam had been inside his inventing shed for 3 solid days. I wonder what Uncle Sam can be inventing this time, said Sarah, who was standing outside the shed with her brother James. I don't know, replied James. But whatever it is, it's sure to mean trouble. What do you mean, James? Asked Sarah. Don't tell me you've forgotten about the automatic door closer, said James. Do you mean the one that opened the door so hard that it flew off its hinges? Asked Sarah. That's the one, agreed her brother. Oh dear, sighed Sarah, looking at the locked door. Then this invention certainly means trouble for someone, and that someone is bound to be us. Suddenly the shed door flew open to reveal Fireman Sam. It's finished, he announced importantly. Sarah and James went inside the shed with their Uncle Sam. There was a tall object covered by a sheet standing on a table in the middle of the room. What is it this time, Uncle Sam? Asked Sarah suspiciously. Fireman Sam smiled and stepped over to the covered object. I know, he began, that in the past I may have developed a few inventions that were perhaps just a little bit impractical. Yes, interrupted James, like the cake mixer that went mad and demolished the kitchen, and the toy dog that bit my leg, added Sarah. As I was saying, Fireman Sam went on, some of my inventions were a little useless? Asked Sarah. Fireman Sam was not put out in the least by these interruptions. But this is my masterpiece, he said, as he whipped off the sheet dramatically. The 2 children gazed in awe at the magnificent machine that was revealed. What is it, Uncle Sam? Asked James. This, said Sam importantly, is my supersonic, microbionic, electronic, turbo-powered, A-grade first-class outboard motorboat engine. Now, help me get it outside so we can test it. Sam and the 2 children heaved the invention out into the garden and stood it up in its special supporting frame. There are just 2 problems here, Uncle Sam, said James. One is that there is no lake anywhere near Pontypandy big enough for a supersonic, microbionic, electronic, turbo-powered, A-grade, first-class outboard motorboat engine. And the other problem is... Yes? Asked Sam. You don't have a boat. Oh, no, exclaimed Sam, clapping his hand to his forehead in dismay. I never thought of that. He stuck his hands in his pockets and stood looking sadly at the invention. Never mind, Uncle Sam, said Sarah sympathetically. Maybe it will come in handy for something else. That's it, shouted Sam excitedly, and I know exactly what it will be. He rushed into the inventing shed and then rushed back out again with an armful of tools. Here we go, he said, as he pulled out a giant spanner and got to work on the invention. Sarah and James watched with interest as their uncle worked frantically on the machine. There, said Sam at last. Just 2 more turns on the bindle spline, and that will be it. Sam had removed the propeller from the outboard motor and fitted an extremely large corkscrew in its place. Allow me to present my new invention, the Fireman Sam Super Special Telegraph Pole Hole Digger. Sam explained how it would work. Instead of the post office telegraph pole person digging the hole slowly with a shovel, he will simply hold these handles, press that button, and the engine starts, the corkscrew turns, and bingo! The hole is dug. Are you sure it will work, Uncle Sam? Asked Sarah doubtfully. Of course it will, replied her uncle confidently. In fact, we will take it out for a trial right now. They put the pole hole digger into a wheelbarrow and pushed it all the way up Pandy Lane until they came to Pontypandy Common. This will do nicely, said Fireman Sam, coming to a stop in the middle of the green field. Give me a hand to get it into position, James, gasped Sam as he struggled to hold the machine upright. Now, Sarah, he went on, move the wheelbarrow. Sarah was quite glad of an excuse to get well away in case anything went wrong, and quickly pushed the barrow out of range. When Sam had the digger nicely balanced and James had joined his sister well out of harm's way, he took a good grip on the handles, placed his thumb over the red button, pressed it firmly, and disappeared. The awesome power of the supersonic, microbionic, electronic, turbo-powered, A-grade first-class motorized pole hole digger had been too much for Sam to handle. And at that very moment, he was being dragged behind the digger deep underground as the machine went out of control. Finally, the digger shot up out of the ground with Sam still clinging desperately to the handles. It did a slow curve through the air and then hit the ground again, only to disappear once more on another subterranean journey. Sarah and James watched with interest as their uncle kept popping up out of the ground and then disappearing again. I suppose he will run out of petrol quite soon, said Sarah, as Sam did a spectacular double flip before disappearing yet again. Probably, agreed James. But he was wrong. The pole hole digger didn't run out of petrol. It exploded just as it reached the peak of a particularly high leap. We were lucky there, said James to his uncle as he pushed him along Pandy Lane in the wheelbarrow. Lucky, groaned the feeble fireman. Yes, very lucky, said James. If the digger had exploded underground, Sarah and I would have had to dig you out. Oh, yes, we were very lucky, moaned Sam, settling back in the barrow and closing his eyes. Very lucky indeed. Back at the fire station, Sam soon recovered from his ordeal and was ready for duty. He'd just finished a cup of tea when the telephone rang. Sam picked it up. Hello, he said. Help! It was Bella, the nice Italian lady who owned the cafe in the high street. What's the trouble, Bella? Asked Fireman Sam. It's a horrible, wailed Bella. I'm being invaded by jumping pussycats. Jumping pussycats? Asked the puzzled fireman. Station Officer Steele, Sarah, and James looked at each other. Jumping pussycats? They all said in amazement. Sarah, James, and the fearless firefighters climbed aboard Jupiter, the fire engine, and roared out of the fire station. They sped through the streets of Pontypandy and came to a screeching halt in front of Bella's cafe. They jumped out of Jupiter and rushed into the cafe. An amazing sight met their eyes. Rabbits. Black rabbits, brown rabbits, white, grey, and even spotted rabbits. They were everywhere. In things, on things, behind things, and under things. Bella was sitting on the edge of the counter holding a rabbit in each arm. "See," she said, "jumping a pussycats." "They're not pussycats," said Station Officer Steele. "They're rabbits." "I know," said Bella, "but I can't say rabbits in English." But then a scream was heard. "Ah!" "That sounds like Mrs. Price," said Sam. They all rushed into the street and saw Mrs. Price standing in front of the general store, surrounded by rabbits. "Ah!" she screamed again. "Help! Save me! Oh! Help!" "Calm down, Mrs. Price," said Station Officer Steele soothingly. "They're only rabbits." "Only rabbits?" screeched Mrs. Price. "They're horrible! Take them away!" Sam looked inside the store. The rabbits were everywhere, and most of them were munching their way through Mrs. Price's vegetables. Where can they have come from? James wondered, as more and more rabbits filled the streets of Pontypandy. At that moment, Trevor Evans came driving carefully along the high street. Trevor leaned out of the minibus window and shouted to Sam and his friends. "I've just come down from Pandy Moor," he yelled. "The construction company has laid the new motorway right across the old rabbit warrens. The rabbits just managed to get out before the burrows were sealed completely." "Oh, no," exclaimed Sarah. "That means the rabbits have no homes." "Well, they can't stay here," snapped Mrs. Price, as another lettuce leaf disappeared down the throat of a munching bunny. "No, they can't," added Station Officer Steele, doing a very good tap dance as a baby rabbit clung to his trouser leg. "Why don't we take them to the common?" suggested James, "and let them live in the holes you dug with the power-driven pole-hole digger?" Everyone thought this was a good idea, but the problem was, how do you persuade 10,000 bunnies to go where you want them to? They tried everything, but the rabbits just would not leave Pontypandy. Then Trevor Evans had an idea. "Carrot juice!" he shouted. The others looked at him in surprise. "Carrot juice?" they echoed. "Yes," said Trevor. "We lay a trail of carrot juice, and the rabbits will follow it." Bella brought a liquidizer and a huge bowl from the cafe, and Mrs. Price carried out 2 sacks of carrots. In no time at all, with everyone lending a hand, the carrots were crushed into a juicy pulp. Station Officer Steele poured the carrot juice into Jupiter's storage tank. Then Fireman Sam drove slowly to the common, while Steele carefully squirted the carrot juice from the hose onto the road as they went. "It's working!" cried James, as the thousands of rabbits sniffed their way to Pontypandy Common. As soon as the rabbits reached the common, they dived straight into the holes and disappeared. "They seem to like their new homes," said Sam with a smile. And they did. Except, that is, for 2 small brown bunnies who had decided to make their home in the left leg of Station Officer Steele's trousers.
When